Welcome. In front of me is a ULEFONE Note 17 Pro, and even though on the box we do have a sticker and we can clearly see there is Note 7, for some reason this is 17. I'm not sure where the 1 is, to be completely honest. But in any case, this video will basically go over unboxing along with a quick look at the device and its specifications. So let's just get straight into it. So popping it open, we do have the actual name right here, so Note 17 Pro. Below that we have instruction along with the provided case. So I'm gonna yank that out right away. I don't really care about the paperwork, so just dump it out to the side. Next, the phone itself under. Now, I do want to point out that you've probably seen me just take this device out, and it's supposedly new. And the seals were cut from factory. And additionally, the phone comes with a already scratched screen protector. You can see it right. You can see those lines. If you can kind of get them correctly. Very hard to actually show them off. Not very visible here. Yeah, but anyway, we do have a bunch of scratches right here. But like I mentioned, this is just a screen protector, so not to worry about that. Now, below that, we do have our charging brick, which comes provided with the device, and that is actually a decent charger at 30 watts. And it's also a Type-C charger with a provided Type-C to Type-C charging cable. Now, putting up the device, we will be presented with a 6.78-inch 1080 by 2400 pixel display, which is an AMOLED display at 120 Hz refresh rate with a brightness of about 500 nits. It also boasts a 91.3% screen-to-body ratio with a 388 pixels per inch. So there we go. Now, the screen-to-body ratio might seem a little bit inflated. That is because the display is curved. You can see that, which usually makes it so the screen-to-body ratio seems a bit higher than it actually is in reality. These bezels are, for instance, much bigger than what you have on something like the Red Magics. Sorry for that. So yeah, Red Magics, even though they have a flat screen, they do have about the same screen-to-body ratio, but it seems much smaller because it's a flat display. Now, flipping it over to the... That is the most garbage sound I have ever heard for locking the device. Now, let's see if the camera picks it up. Yeah, that sounds bad. Anyway, flipping the phone over, we have what looks to be a single camera setup. Now, I can see this little right here thing as well, but I most likely will not be counting that as a camera, which, let's scroll down in my list, and okay, it's not actually that bad. So the main sensor is a 108 megapixel f1.9 aperture wide sensor, and then below that we have the 5 megapixel f2.0 aperture macro. Now, with the main one, you can record videos at 1440p up to 30 frames only, and 1080p also gets you only 30 frames. Now, when it comes to the selfie camera, right here in this hole punch, it's housing a 32 megapixel f2.5 aperture wide sensor that also has only 1080p at 30 frames capability, which again, just a little bit disappointing, to be completely honest. So those are the cameras. Now moving on to the internals, we have a 5050 mAh battery and a relatively small footprint of a device with a plastic back right here. The device comes with a 12 gigabytes of RAM and is being powered by a Helio G99 processor. And on the box, you can kind of see this bogus right here. So we have up to 24 gigabytes of RAM. Now they're also showing you below 12 gigs of RAM and 12 virtual RAM. Now, virtual RAM means absolute shit. when the virtual RAM, what it is actually the storage. Here we have, talking about storage, 256 gigabytes of it, being UFS 2.2, so it's kind of a slow storage too. And they're basically taking that slow storage and converting it to RAM. Now, typically, just kind of very budget devices do that, as it might benefit them just a little bit. Phones that already come with 12 gigabytes of RAM, it's absolutely pointless. It's a marketing gimmick and it's just an absolute lie and a scam. 12 gigs is sufficient enough to run basically anything that is Android related, especially with a processor like this one. You don't need more. And telling you that you have up to 24 gigabytes of RAM is just absolute BS to make the phone look better than it is. And as a user, provides you with no benefit whatsoever. So, with that out of the way, there's just a couple more things left to mention. Number one would be the fingerprint sensor, which is under the display. No surprise, there's not much space for a side-mounted one. And the price is about 300 euros. Now, with that price tag, the device, at least to me and what I'm looking for, is a little bit overpriced. And the reason I'm saying that, even though it's, I would say, not that expensive for what it offers, I already know that there are better devices on the market. Might not look as flashy as this one, because this device did put some effort into looking decent. I prefer to have good specifications and not a device that pretends to be good. So with that in mind, I'm gonna mention one device that I consider still, I think it's like a little close to a year now the device came out, would be the Nothing Phone CMF Phone 1, or basically Nothing is the brand and the model is the CMF Phone 1. And that is still one of the best devices on the market that I can possibly think of, costing less than this one and offering actually more than this device does. The only thing that it suffers is in the camera department, as this, in terms of megapixels, does have a whopping 108 megapixel camera, but it's only doing a 1440p at 30 frames. And taking a quick look at the CMF Phone 1, I do want to basically take a look at it. That one has a 50 megapixel instead of the 108, f1.8 aperture wide sensor, and a 2 megapixel depth, so that's basically a sticker camera. But it offers you a 1080p up to 60 frames and 4K at 30 frames, so already better than this device. And also in terms of selfie, it's going to be half of this at 16 megapixels, also doing 1080p at 30 frames. But at least the back one offers you 4K instead of 1080 or 1440p, and 1080p goes up to 60, which is double the frame rate that this device does. And this is just talking about strictly the cameras. If we talk about battery and stuff like that all around, it's very similar. The difference will be the processor in the CMF phone. Even though it's cheap, phone is cheaper, the processor will be faster. And it also has 6 or 8 gigabytes of RAM with no bogus virtual, but still 6 to 8 gigabytes of RAM is sufficient enough to get you to anything that you want to do on Android devices right now. So that's, again, not really a big downgrade if you don't even get to use the 12 gigs. 6 I've been running on my device and it's been great. 8 gigabytes will be a little bit more expensive, possibly still under this device price point, and still might kind of future-proof you if you're worried about that. So yeah, highly recommend checking out that device instead if you're interested, as it is going to be more consumer-friendly in terms of the price tag, while offering roughly about the same kind of experience, I would say. But with that out of the way, hopefully you found this very helpful, and if you did, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and thanks for watching.